Hey everybody, welcome to the Memoir series. I'm so excited to connect with KeeKee Cornelius. Welcome, KeeKee.
Hey!
I'm so glad you're joining me today. We're gonna have a good time. Oh my gosh, you cannot not have a good time with KeeKee. She's hilarious.
You really can't. You really can't.
True story. True story. True story. So what we decided we were going to tackle today is just kind of the fun aspect of the mom timeline. We're going to kind of talk about just that whole thing, ages and stages. And then if you're watching this with mom of young kids, we're just going to tell you what that looks like. There's hope. There's that future. There's hope. And really what you can look forward to. And if you can look forward to it happening then, you can be encouraged now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
exactly.
KeeKee, you're mom of 3 kids?
3. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what are their ages?
Mm-hmm. Okay, my daughter just turned 22 today. That's my baby girl. Our baby girl is 22. My husband came to the marriage with her. And then my son is 26, soon to be 27. So I'm an empty nester at this point, but I didn't start off this way.
You never do. You never
right?
do. Yeah,
right.
they're always there. You know, as
right.
in the bathroom with you, always there.
Hands under the bathroom door, always.
Mom. Hey, so one of the advantages we can say right away is, do you indeed go to the bathroom by yourself?
Yes. Now I can.
Something to look forward to. But now tell me, okay, so your kids are in their 20s, but
right.
And so I have 2 in my 20s, 2 in their 20s. Yeah, I'm in my 20s. 2 in their 20s, 1 18, and I have an 11-year-old. So I still got a little ways to go. But like me, can you easily remember back to carrying them around before they could walk and every physical need when you're first starting out?
Oh, okay. Yes, and yes. And all I remember is, and my journey really starts, like when I had my children, it was like, that was the thing to do. I was living the American dream. And even though I had my first, by the time I had my daughter, by the time I had her, like physically had her, me and her father were already at odds. Mm. I was on my way to divorce, and she has a brother that's 2 weeks older than her. Too personal? Maybe not. No. But this was a part of my journey.
Yeah, and no, there's no such thing as TMI here. You know, whatever.
Oh, okay, good. Because
whatever you want to share.
It all.
It's just going out on YouTube. Book. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Oh,
so don't worry about that.
Millions? Yeah, don't worry about that. KeeKee shame. No, but
no, there'll be no shaming.
Right. No, what it was that so my journey really starts from there when I think about it, because at that point in my life, I'm like a single mother with 2 children. Mm. And I get to the point like, what are we doing here? I was working a really good job. I'm not going to lie. I had a really good, cushy corporate job. By this time, or even 5 years ago, I would have been retired because I started so early. But I wasn't happy in that job. But the thing about it is, when you're living the American dream, you know, go to college, get a degree, get a job where you can retire from in 30 years and still start living your life. I mean, I don't understand how you start living your life at 50, but okay.
Yeah,
right. It's got to start before then.
I can't wait to talk about your neck. But anyway, I agree. Yes, you can't go. It's like, okay, total diversion. But, you know, a bucket list. Don't start that at 50. You know, and you've got to have something to look forward to, especially when you haven't slept in 5 days. You're like, all on my bucket list is 8 hours sleep straight.
Right.
By myself.
Right. Like, no, that's not living. But sometimes, you know, sleep is what we need. Sleep is just what we need.
And sometimes you're at where you're at.
Yeah, you're at where you're at. So I'm at that point, and I'm in this cubicle. And at this point in my life, I've started one business, like on the side. At that time, they called it moonlighting. I'm at the point in my life where I'm starting to date myself, right? No one says moonlighting anymore. It's a side hustle.
I say moonlighting. We're going to bring it back. We're bringing back that time. Side hustle.
I was moonlighting, right?
Yeah, because you're working by the light of the moon.
Yes.
And by the way, all moms moonlight because you're working by the light of the moon.
Yes. So I'm doing that. So I have in my mind, I know at that time, like, entrepreneurship wasn't as big back then as it is now, but starting your own business was something that you've heard about, and it sounded kind of spicy to me. So I started this side hustle, this moonlighting, as a wedding planner, because I can't even think wedding planner anymore, because all these years now later, they're event planners. No one's a wedding planner anymore, right? Too many. So that's like we're talking like 20 years ago, almost. And 20 years ago. Okay, anyway, I digress.
It's a number. It's experience.
It's just a number.
It's
right.
wisdom. 20 years.
Yeah, so let's
20 wisdoms ago.
Yeah, let's count up all these 20 wisdoms ago. So, you're thinking, okay, I have 2 kids. I cannot just quit this job and start over. That'd be crazy. Like, I own my own house at this time. I own my own car. There's nothing that I don't need anything, but I want more. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. As a mom, I wanted more. There was my kids were small, so I'm working overtime and I'm missing like milestones, like baby's first steps, school activities. Yeah. And it was getting to me. Like, I don't know if this is how life or motherhood was supposed to be. Yeah. So I took a leap of extreme faith. Oh my God. Now, okay, I'll do it again. Now when I think so I quit that job.
Wow.
Not only did I quit the job, Lynn, I moved 1,200 miles away from home where I knew not one soul. So I'm going to tell you, women, we can do it. We put our minds to a thing, we can do it, even with kids in tow. So Absolutely. One thing I learned early on is that I didn't want my kids to be a disability or a disease that I had to get over to be able to live my life. I wanted to be able to show them that they were the reason for me going forth, not the excuse for me not moving forward.
God, I love that. That is a beautiful and amazing. And I just want to say, I celebrate your courage and your bravery, because it was always there. You just said, I'm tapping into it. I'm going. And that's something that's wow.
I needed you in my life back then because everybody else just thought I was freaking crazy.
I would have been load up the truck. Let's move to Beverly. Let's go.
No, they thought I was crazy because at this time it's like I had just tapped into like my spirit side and I could hear spirit talking to me. I didn't understand what it was. Even the move started. I moved from Michigan, Kalamazoo, Michigan, a little small town.
I know
there really is a Kalamazoo.
I worked for Kellogg's out of Battle Creek. I know Kalamazoo.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
My uncle and my grandmother live in Battle Creek to this day.
But they get the smell of cereal every day.
Right. Right. Well, it's better than Kalamazoo and the peppermint factory.
Oh, yeah.
That's gross.
Too much.
Too much how those smells come back.
I did not know you were from Kalamazoo. And so where did you move to?
Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, that's right. I love it. Yeah, beautiful.
Denver, Colorado.
Big change.
Beautiful, but I did not know a soul, Lynn. When I tell you, not one soul. Me and 2 kids. My husband, who was my estranged ex-boyfriend at the time, he moved us out there. He drove us out. It was like a couple days before school started, made sure he was out there for a weekend. He wasn't moving. He wasn't going with me. I was determined to do this as a single mom on my own. It didn't matter. 3 months later, he was in Colorado, and 4 months later, I believe we were married. So it was like,
so he saw it. He got the vision.
He couldn't live without me. Let's keep it real.
I was just gonna say, he wanted to make sure, I want this girl. This is my girl.
Yeah. I bet he's happy now he kept me. Yeah. So, but I was willing to do that as a single mom. Like, it didn't matter to me. I had about 30 grand, which, today isn't a lot, right? But I had 30 grand to make it. I wanted to stay at home a year with the kids. Like, because this is a transition for all of us. Mm-hmm. They were used to being around family and friends. My mother, she was like the primary caregiver when I was working at this point. And it just was, I wanted to make sure that they didn't have any negative effect from the move. You just want to make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where my daughter was diagnosed with extreme, what was the diagnosis? But she would go from 0 to 60 in like 1.2 seconds. So opposition. Like oppositional, it was something about oppositional disorder, something about that. Okay. Somebody listening to us will probably know. And
comments below, guys.
Right, and an ADHD, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so I can't remember. But so it got to a point where even I had to end up going back to work But then I had to quit my job because one, okay, no lie, I really wanted to start another business, right? Like, let me figure out how to start a business so that I don't have to work. But at the same time, I couldn't really work because I had to be up at the schools.
Okay.
She was just special. In her
She
own
just
way.
was herself. She was being her.
Oh, yeah, she was. Now, today, I get it as she just really wanted to be heard. And, you know, as children, sometimes we forget to listen to them and their feelings, because I was raised like, okay, children are to be heard and not seen and not heard, right? So we didn't have opinions when I was growing up. And unless you want to get smacked across your mouth, like, did you just voice an opinion? Like, who do you think I'm the mom here, right? So
right. Oh yeah, I remember.
A little of that may have spilt over right into my children. But at the same time, I had to start recognizing that this little girl just really wants to be heard, and she really just wants to be attention. She turns out she's my love child. You know, she's a mama's girl. She's like, so it worked out. But there was a time in there where I was thinking, oh my God, what is wrong with this child? Or did I do something wrong? Well, like, there had to be something.
And don't us moms, you know, when they're little and you don't, there's not an A or B right answer. There's this, okay, this is my best judgment. And sometimes it doesn't work out that great. And you're like, and then you maybe question your judgment, or somebody even worse maybe speaks into it a little bit and you're like, yeah, I guess I screwed that up royal or whatever. But, you know, I think it's that path of just keep trying. And then we learn and we go and we know, and we learn who our daughter is or who our son is or whatever. And we adapt, and we show them how to adapt along the way too.
Exactly. And that's what it was really about. Like, she's just learning the world, right? She just needs to learn how to communicate in a way that it doesn't feel like everyone's not ignoring you. There
Feels
are
like
people
it sometimes.
There are people who really connect with you, but we can't do it in this form. I need you to stop yelling and just talk softly to your mom for a minute, and then maybe we can come to some kind of resolution. Because if you're up there and I'm up there, nobody's getting anywhere. Right?
No, exactly.
So,
I was always tempted to go, here, chew on this ginormous wad of bubble gum, and then we'll talk.
Right. Or just send yourself to a timeout. Just send yourself to a timeout.
Right.
Like, I'm going to my room. I don't have to take this from you. I'm going to my room.
My door locks. My door definitely locks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you landed in Denver. You were working through normal mom issues and some by yourself, and then you got married.
Yep.
Right. And so that some of those changes too. How long did you live in Denver?
We lived in Denver for 10 years. Okay. So just about when my son graduated from high school there, my daughter graduated from high school there, I started making the transition to California her senior year.
Okay.
Her senior year, we started transitioning.
Still entrepreneur? Still
full on entrepreneur at this point.
Awesome.
At this point, I'm full on entrepreneur. So it probably took me, once I moved to Denver, let me see, 2003, maybe about 7 years. Wow. 7 years. That's a perfect cycle, right?
That's a good number right there.
That is a good number. I never thought about that. Thanks for enlightening me. But about 7 years to get it right, to where, okay, I'm not going back and forth to work. Like, I quit a job. I quit, right, to move from Michigan. Then I had to go back to work. The job was still another cushy job. Like, I have to brag. I'm going to brag. I don't have a problem finding a job. I can start out at the bottom. I started in this job as a 10-key operator in a marketing department. I ended up being the manager of the marketing department before I left.
There you go.
And yet I still wasn't happy.
Yeah.
Because I really just wanted to be home. I got used to being home with my kids when they came home from school. I got used to being able to go where I wanted. If you have a conference, and I can do conferences in the middle of the day instead of in the evening time. You know, you could go and have lunch with them at school when they have those programs. You kind of get spoiled.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, or spoiled or connected, you know,
okay, both,
you know, it's, I don't know. I don't want to put a label on it, because in today's world, it's like we do what we need to do. And yet, you know, like, I don't know. I guess I'm just, the only reason I'm saying anything about the word spoiled is just like, it's not a luxury. It's not a luxury to be there for your kids' stuff. You know?
Oh, I get that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, going to the spa every day, spoiled.
That's a luxury. Yeah, that's spoiled. That's a luxury.
I'm willing to try that. I'm willing to try that. But
me too. We need a sponsor. No, but really, it was just, you know, you get used to those things. And it's like and it is a higher connection because you're there. So, you know, you're the first person they see when they come home. My kids talk to me about everything when they got into high school. Okay, so for all the moms out there wondering when the kids are going to stop closing the door and hiding stuff from them and not telling them stuff and not answering their question, it comes. But then, okay, my kids are they talk to me about everything. Some things I wish they keep a secret from their mom.
You don't have to tell me everything, please.
You don't. This is okay. So this is another. So I talked about my daughter. The other hurdle that we had to deal with. Well, I'm not going to call it a hurdle. It's not a hurdle. And I didn't have to deal with it. I just had to learn how to understand it and accept it. And that's the fact that my son came out of the closet when he was maybe 13.
Oh, wow. That's pretty young.
Right.
Or is it young? I don't know. Is that young? Or I don't mean that. I'm kind of ignorant on that. But
see,
is that young?
You know, I'm going to be ignorant on that too. I'm thinking, okay, so as a mother, honestly, full disclosure, I saw this in this kid before 13.
Okay. What did you see? What did you see?
Just his mannerisms. And I thought maybe it was because for a good bulk of his life, he was raised around me and my mom and my sisters. And his dad was there on the weekends mostly. So maybe I was thinking maybe he just he has, you know, he's like more sensitive and he's like that because he's always around women. So at the time we were seriously into church. And when I say church, I mean religion, which I don't do anymore. I don't do organized religion. I love God though. Try to tell that to my dad, who's a pastor. So I'm a PK.
Dear. You are PK on top of it. Oh, my Lanta.
Yes.
Wow, KeeKee, I didn't know that either. Oh, that is the okay. You got the dad factor and the family of origin stuff. This is getting juicy.
Right? So when you couple that with the fact that you have a child who has come out of the closet and you have been preaching against this thing in your household and even in the churches and places that you send him to, I felt some kind of way, like really sad that my son at a point in his life felt like he couldn't be who he was because of the things that were being taught and preached to him.
I can't even imagine how freaked out he must have been, or like, my thoughts are wrong, and how amazing he is. He's got his mother's bravery going, okay, I'm 13 and this is who Mom, Mom, we need to chat.
I wish it was that easy. I wish.
Yeah, don't mean to pretend it is, but yeah.
Yeah, we went through some times. Because as he's coming out, I really have to come out too. And I have to understand, like,
interesting, what
is going on, because everything that I've been taught is that this is an abomination and that something would be wrong with you, but you're my child. I know that there's nothing wrong with you. I know that you're not an abomination. And I'm talking to him about these feelings, and they're real raw feelings. I mean, I know what these feelings are. Like, we've all been teenagers. He's just not having those feelings for girls.
Right.
He's having them for boys. Okay. Now, his father and his stepdad are still working on it. They know who he is. They just expect some woman to come by and swoop him off his feet any day.
I was going to say, what does it mean working on it? Like their own acceptance?
They are totally accepted. But I think sometimes in the back of their head, they're thinking, this boy isn't. He's not gay. Like, he's totally gay. He's totally gay. Okay, so what made me think about that? Right. Yeah, so what made me think about that was the fact that there will come a time in your life where your kids tell you things you really don't want to know. And, you know, I love asking questions. because I like to understand people. And especially if you're close to me, he's my child. I want to understand everything about you, you know?
Right.
So I ask questions.
You bring up such a cool point. It's like, you know, he bravely told you everything, came out, but there was that process for you too. You had to figure that out. Maybe somewhere in the depths, you know, you're walking through, hey, he's a teenager now, he's crazy, whatever. But you had to process that too. You had to have your own
come to Jesus.
I was going to say that, but I'm going to let that go.
No.
Okay.
No.
Come to Jesus
really,
on that.
Come to Jesus.
But and be not okay with it, but also just because if it's going to float out, you know, what's your PR statement on that? What's your, because I don't know, you need to be square with that, with yourself.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. You know, I have to be okay with the fact that all those Bible verses that I've been telling him before then that talked against that, you know, let's not think about that right now.
Yeah.
Because you are literally a human being standing in front of me, and I love you for who you are, and I just want to know who you are. So now just reintroduce me to yourself.
Yeah.
At this point. And you have to apologize.
Man,
and
I love your approach though. Look at that approach. Look at how open and aware and willing to shift you are, willing to shift those illusions going, oh, this is the way it is. It's like, well, maybe it's not.
It's not. Oh, absolutely.
Kids will show you. You think one thing and they will show you it is not one thing. It's like
hey, that manual that you're going off of doesn't work on me. It's not my manual. It's like every one of them came with a different manual, and someone's still hiding the damn manual. Like, where is the manual? Totally. Where are your operating instructions, kid? Where are they?
What page are we on? Where's the, you know, my mother-in-law had 11 children.
Oh, yeah.
I know. And can you imagine that? Because there's 11
yes, because my mom is 6 of 12.
So yes. Okay. So same thing. My husband came from 11, and my mother-in-law used to say, the problem with reading child rearing books is the kids don't read them.
Right. That's a good one. Yeah. Don't you see how you're supposed to be acting? Like, read this book. You're doing it wrong. Right.
You're 15 now, and this is what you're doing. So now go do it. You know, like, I'm supposed to. Now I understand you because it said it here. Right.
I love it. Yes.
And
but no
individuals.
Neither of my kids were like that.
No.
And it was good because they took me on a beautiful journey of motherhood. Honestly, they taught me how to deal with the real world.
Yeah.
And its rawness.
Oof.
Because I have what I affectionately call KeeKee land. And in KeeKee land, I swear there are unicorns that poop Skittles. I know that they do. It feels really good in there. Everything about the world is grand. My kids were like, you know what? I'm just going to invade KeeKee land. And no, your unicorns aren't pooping Skittles anymore.
That's because you entered in. Get out of KeeKee land.
You don't even like them. Right. Like, what are you doing in here?
Get out of here. How'd you get a pass in here?
Right. So it's really about, they really taught me how to communicate. My daughter taught me how to love. My son taught me how to love unconditionally. Unconditionally.
Beautiful.
We say this about our children, right? I know I've said it before everything that happened. You know, you think you love them unconditionally until there's a condition that they are dealing with that was one of your conditions, you know?
Oh, man. That's good. And that's where I think separation can happen. Because if you didn't choose to be open to going, okay, wait, that was my condition, but what, why, where, when? What is that condition about? What is it attached to?
Yeah.
What is my belief behind that? And do I still want to hold that belief?
Exactly.
Right.
Is that my own belief, or was it just, it's a belief that was put onto me? It was a belief that was put onto me, and I bought into that belief. But then, and I probably could have still bought into that belief my whole life until my son. So he came here for me to see a different way, right? My daughter came for me to see a different way. They had specific purposes. Like, I know they came here for other people, but I'm kind of selfish. They came here for my soul too.
Heck yeah. Oh, heck yeah. And your soul came for them for sure.
Right.
And so it's kind of like the moral of the story of that, boys and girls, would be, right? Being open to what's in front of you, being willing to consider, just be going, just to be saying, who am I with here? What is this
Right.
person about? And how do I want to show up to that? I can still be true to me. They're going to have a path. I have a path. Our paths are together, but their path might not be how I dictate it, how I dreamed and thought it would be, how I decided.
Definitely not.
You know,
definitely not.
That's a way of thinking to real frustration and sadness and separation.
And in everyone's life, when you think about it, Lynn, because even when I think about my own uprearing and the things that my parents said, you know, that I had to do and that were the right thing to do, because this is just what you do when you're adulting, right? And so we go through these stages. So, and then we teach our kids these different stages because this is what has been taught for years and years and years. And then I finally got to the point where when I started like taking off the mask and removing all the cover from what everyone else had decided my life was supposed to be, what I saw was that I could not put those same clothes on my children. What I saw was that I could not. Ooh,
it just gave me.
I could not have them living in a world where they thought that what they wanted to do wasn't good enough because it wasn't what I said they should do.
Oh God,
that just didn't work for me.
You get me. It didn't
work.
You got me. You got me good.
It didn't. And I'm going to tell you, this is what I tell them to this day. I always tell them, even when they ask me my opinion, it's like, okay, I know I don't want my opinion to matter. What I want you to do, I want you to do what you feel in your heart. Yeah. Regardless of what you think I may say, what I may do, how I may feel, how I've raised you, do what you believe. As long as you're not out here hurting people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do what your heart guides you to do, because that's what your soul came to do. Mm. And what I knew for sure when I was going through with my kids is that we're in this forever. You dying out of this family. Me and you both. And you know, I ain't trying to go to jail to kill you, so yeah. I'm gonna have to deal with you. I'm gonna have to deal with you.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. But what grace and beauty, and again, I use the word awareness that you chose to go through with them, you know, and there's those times where you're like, come over here. I'm too tired to smack you. Get over here. No, you know, you're driving me
Mama
crazy.
Can't take no more.
No more. Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so now, man, that was beautiful. Wow. My heart is still like, oh, delicious. So delicious. And it's such a great help to all of us to say it that way. It's so good. So now you've got these kids in the 20s. They've transitioned out. Tell us about that transition about life.
Oh my God. Okay. So no one speaks about the transition from parenting to advisor.
Ooh, well said. To advise. Ooh, let's have it.
Because as parents, we pretty much dictate. Like they'll ask us and it's like, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. Sure, you should do that. You know how it goes.
Yeah,
but then as adults, it's like, you know what, Mom, I'm gonna, let me see, join the circus. And you're like, okay, the circus is interesting. Why'd you choose that? But if your child came and told you, like, you ain't joining no damn circus, like that just sounds crazy, right? But as an adult,
get to your room. I'm locking the door. Yeah,
right. Until you're 30 and you can't even think about circuses anymore, right? But there comes a point where you have to just let go and let them be adults. The same. So I always go back to when I was a child, or when I was going from a child to adulthood, how I wanted to feel. And I wanted to feel because I wasn't a bad kid. I got good grades in school. I was doing what you told me to do, other than, you know, maybe the first baby was out of wedlock. My mother probably wouldn't have liked that, you know, wedlock in our, I wasn't married to his father.
You got that preacher thing going.
Yeah, you know, I'm PK. Yeah. I'm a PK.
She's a PK.
Yeah, I'm a PK. So that's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Well, it was back then. In my life, it was.
I mean, is it? But I hear what you're saying. It's like, I feel like I have shifted to, and even teenage years, but definitely into the 20s, when you become that advisor, is like you shift to questions, how I would want to be treated. Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I wouldn't want that people go, oh, no, you should make her.
That just sounds stupid.
Yeah. I turned it into like, hey, how you feeling about that? Or what gave you that idea? Or that sounds really cool. What's your plans with it? Or how do you plan to get there? Or how can I support you? Or, you know, if there's a big red flag, I still love them. And I don't, and like, so you're going to jump out of a plane without a parachute. Okay. So let's talk about that.
Right.
How do you see that turning out?
Exactly. You have to let them see it from your point of view. Like from my point of view, I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm just saying. If that were me, I'd be a little leery. Yeah,
but you know, let me just give you a final little hug before you go. I love you. I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Prayerfully. You just
exactly.
But you think about the things that you just don't jump in. Because, you know, just imagine when they were in school, right? You jump in and like, oh, how can I help you with that? And, oh, we could do this. And, oh, we could do that. As adults, it's like, let me know if you need my help.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, have you found they appreciated that? Have you found they really reacted well to you?
Sometimes. My daughter, I told you, sometimes she's like, that really didn't help, Mom. I'm like, well, what are you
looking for?
I'm not going to tell you what to do.
No, I'm not going to say yes or no.
Yeah. Right. Really, if I say no, you're going to do it anyway.
Well, or if I said yes, you're living with those consequences.
Okay. You're not going to make it my fault that you out here adulting your way.
You're living with those consequences. Right. No.
Right.
Exactly.
I want you to adult your way because I believe when we don't, we disservice them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, when they get so old.
It can be hard. We're sitting there going, I can bite tongue. Oh yeah, that's a really good idea.
Right. No, it's like, I really thought you were going to do something different, but okay.
That's all right. Yeah, that's your deal.
I just ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
As a parent now, I ask a lot of questions, and my kids know I ask questions because I just really want to know.
Yeah, curiosity
for an understanding.
And to help them walk through some of the thinking that they might not have yet, but or they do, and they're happy to share it with you or whatever.
Exactly.
You know, every once in a while, like, oh, I didn't think about that great thought, and you just feel like doing a backflip because you're like, I contributed in a very hands-off way and respectful way because you're an adult.
That's right.
Yeah, I did not decide that for you.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. This whole parenting thing, I think what we've been getting at, it certainly is a journey. It's certainly
definitely
not a race. And man, thanks for sharing all the cool things that you did. That is just you. I honor you, girl. You're just amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining the Mom Wire series today. And
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Great advice and really fun. You're gonna have to come back. You crack me up and you make me cry all at the same time.
Isn't that crazy? Something's wrong. I'm a beautiful mess. I tell you, I'm a beautiful mess.
You are. I think I'll heavier on the beautiful side.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Next time you'll have to come back and talk about your business now of the nomad lifestyle. So there's a little teaser, everybody. Come back and see KeeKee again because we're gonna sign off now. But thank you for all your parenting goodness and how you show up.
You rock. Thank you.
See ya. Bye, KeeKee.
Bye-bye.
Remember to subscribe.